Okay.
All right, guys, we are live on the tubes here in Christian
We're going to restart
Racing.
behind us 18.
About half the, not quite half, 3/5 or so of the race is already underway, which is lap 29. We're starting this a little bit late.
Yeah, that's what happened earlier. Adam and
I figured better late than never on the live
we were entering
stream
our
here
pit
for
stall,
y'all.
and he was already in his pit stall and almost completely stopped, and I bumped into the back of him because he's pitting right behind me. Okay. And we both took damage. Mike, you need help?
No, I'm waiting for guys to pass me.
Oh, okay.
One to go. Lining up on the inside, it looks like. Looks like he should be lining up behind the 70.
I think about resource zones over here because I haven't been seeing it the past couple of times. Being a different graphic on the wall.
There's Geico signs, I think, or some kind of blue sign.
Come on, JC!
Yeah, Geico restart.
Oh, it's only to pass you now. I'm good. And once time we stay behind, they just switch, so that's good.
Blue.
I think it's because
What's
Mike's behind.
Just racing, Christian Racing League.
Yeah, it's still telling me to let you by.
iRacing Super Speedway in the trucks.
A Christian racing
I'm gonna
league?
run out of gas.
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch the field.
They run trucks on Thursday. That starts their week. They run trucks on Thursday, Xfinity on Monday, and Cup on Tuesday is how they finish out their week. So the Xfinity and the Cup is actually a week like they're on the like after when the new week starts in iRacing season, they're actually finishing up their week, so they're kind of a little bit behind, but yeah.
Okay.
And then we're streaming on the tubes.
Cool.
I don't like the iRacing Super Speedway. I hate it, but oh well. I'm trying to do good in this league, so I'm here racing it.
Buddy, let's get ready to roll here. Make sure your tires are cleaned off. Double check those belts.
You been running anything?
Alright, boss man, pace cars off.
The only race I ran was that endurance race we ran.
Oh, okay.
Green,
Tried out
green.
that setup that you posted. It's okay.
Yeah, we're just trying to get back in the trucks.
Outside.
Other than that,
Still outside.
We were kind of out of the trucks for a long time, so
Still out there. Still out there, man. Clear, clear, clear. Outside. Still outside. Still outside. Still out there. Clear high. Inside. All clear, my man. Outside.
Just call you down.
Clear high. Inside.
Starting a new run.
Still inside. The lead is did a 53.655. Still inside. Still inside. Still inside. Still inside. Caution's out. Caution's out.
there's another
Get ready with,
caution.
there you go. Get ready with that brake cleaning stuff, guys. Your blower, they're going to drop down some oil dragger, I'm sure.
And we went almost a whole fuel run with no caution. And then since we got the first one, there's been like 2 more. And the only thing I don't like about some of these leagues that I've been racing in and stuff
Looks like
is
you'll be lining up
that
behind the gate.
they do less than full tanks of fuel. Like they're doing like 75% fuel here. It's like 14 gallons.
Yeah, you got to pit all the time.
Yes, I hate that. Having to pit all the time.
I'll be right back. I gotta grab a snack.
All right.
Well, Jeff, do you guys just carry M4s or do you just carry? And do you also carry a shotgun too?
Remington 870 and right now it's Barnes Precision AR-15.
Pit road is open.
Barnes Precision because they're based out of Apex, which is local, I think.
Yeah,
I
I've
think
never
it's
heard
Apex.
them.
I think it's Apex. But I think they're going to go to, they're looking at the SIG AR. And we're also changing our service weapon. We're going to be going to a 1 of 4. We're looking at the SIG 320. We're looking at the Smith & Wesson, an FN, and also a Glock. And I'm hoping it's not the Glock.
Yeah, I've seen too many accidents with Glocks.
I vote for the SIG
Here we
or
come,
for
fellas.
the
10 away.
FN.
5 away. Sure, Mark. Now, turn in, not too tight. Gonna leave on me,
red
no
dots,
more.
everything with that.
Lucky dog. That's right.
Go, man, go, go, man, go.
Right now we're using
Good job, big
SIG
crew.
357.
Kendall, did you say that was your caution?
I'm going to be behind the 71. Behind the 78.
Tire data updated.
I'm going to be behind the 78.
I'm back.
All right. We had another caution.
Jeff, forgot to tell you.
Yep.
Rachel got her police motorcycle license
Oh no.
so that she could, well, she just got it to do like detail, you know, funerals and stuff like that.
Alright, you're going to have to come
She's the-
around the
she's-
6.
They said she's the first woman in her department to ever get it and only the third in the whole state.
She like the road
Looks like you should be lining up behind the 78.
Not really. I mean, she's ridden on them. She's never rode one till then.
I never really ride motorcycles, but that's pretty cool.
But yeah, she's excited about it. But that's all she wanted for, just for, you know, detail stuff.
Mike Lee dropped from both TeamSpeak and iRacing.
Oh no!
We're going to restart behind the
Murphy's having
78.
storms.
Anthony,
I
do
don't
you
know if you've
guys
seen that
do you guys
bike
have that
footage of
smoke in the air down there where you're
I
at?
think it was the LAPD, but this woman called the police on her road.
Yeah.
They showed
Yeah,
up
it's
and,
crazy. I've never seen
boyfriend
nothing
ran
like it.
back
Just a
into
big
the
haze
apartment.
up in the
One
sky
to go.
all over the place.
You're on the outside. Coming around the 71.
Can't believe
Trigger
fires in
raised up their
Canada
hand.
is causing
The
it.
police actually fired off a round and they charged the boyfriend for shooting
Yeah,
at it,
it's
but
a
he
shame.
didn't have a gun. So they're lying about that. I don't know if he'd be in trouble about
See,
it.
they,
Or if they charge him.
I don't know what to believe
I have
anymore,
not
you know,
seen
man,
that
about,
video.
I know when I was a kid and stuff, I
Which,
never
if
thought
you go on
about
YouTube,
haze and
go
fog
in there
and
and,
stuff, you know,
Subscribe to Arkansas
growing
State.
up here, and
I think it's
now
Arkansas
you
State
see it.
Patrol or
It's
Arkansas.
just,
Yeah, I think it's
Well,
Arkansas
I don't know
State
what
Patrol.
what to
it's-
think.
But it's
There's a
not.
trooper on
Hey,
there.
I mean, it's not just regular fog. It's
gets
supposed
a
to
lot
be
of
a bunch of
chases.
smoke from
He
forest,
picks
like
just about everybody.
wildfires in
He's,
Canada.
I guess, a legend now. His name
Well,
is
that's what I'm
Jacob
saying.
Bird.
Yeah,
He's
wild.
that dude can drive.
There's
I
like
don't know what to
there's air
believe
quality
anymore.
alerts tells you like if you have asthma and stuff, not to go outside.
But that's not even all.
Yeah.
That's not even half of them.
I personally haven't seen it affect me yet, but I'm sure somehow it is.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not healthy breathing that crap in. I just can't believe it's traveled that far and it's that low to the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think if it was coming from Canada, like it would have been way up in the upper atmosphere by now. We wouldn't really notice it. It's crazy that it's low. I mean, don't know if it's
Did a
on
really
the
good job,
ground,
man.
but it's
We'll
low
stop
enough
another
to
tug real
cause a haze and like a pretty bad haze in the sky.
Here's
Hey,
Chris.
tires off. Be ready.
Yeah. My wife told me about it today or yesterday. I can't remember. She said, just look up at the sky. It looks cloudy,
Green flag.
but it's not. It's smoke.
Inside.
And you can see, kind of like you said, the
Still
haze.
inside. Even up.
Smoky haze.
Quarter clear.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe anymore. Whether it's global warming, or climate change, or if it's natural. I don't know. It's just...
Yeah. Well, then now they're coming out. Now they're slow walking the release of information about supposed aliens.
Nope. Still inside.
Yeah. Well,
Still there.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a
Clear low.
believer.
Now I ain't getting to look at those today.
We've been visited by
Inside.
aliens.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm not. I'm saying the government's finally slow walking the information out to the public.
Just put a ride on it, bud. You'll get by.
Yeah.
Still
They've
there.
been denying it for decades that we've had some kind of visitations of something.
Still inside. Clear.
Well,
Inside.
do you know who
Still
Bob
inside.
Lazar is?
I know what.
Still there. Clear
Do you know
low.
who Bob Lazar is?
Know who God? I can't hear you.
Oh, Bob, B-O-B.
Oh, Bob Lazar. Yes. I've heard of him before. Yes.
Well, if you've heard of him, then you probably know his story,
Outside.
right?
No.
What's that?
I know he claims to have worked with it firsthand, but I don't know the details.
Well,
Still there on your quarter outside.
you should really research Bob Lazar.
I'll Google it.
Deleted it. Get on
Well,
47.8.
Remember, there is...
Oh,
the
YouTube.
government-
I'll search on YouTube because he does podcasts and stuff from time to time. And I'll get him. I'll watch one of them where he's telling the story.
Mhm.
Outside.
They have documentation of
Outside
him
quarter.
working.
They have documentation of what now?
Of him working there.
Oh yeah.
Still outside. Clear,
And
clear.
they have
Outside,
documentation
outside.
of them trying
Still
to suppress
outside.
it. And
Still out
he
there.
had to come out about it because he was afraid that the government
there.
was going to try and off him pretty much because he worked.
Still there.
Right.
But there's a lot of details in the
Clear.
story that's interesting. And it gets your brain thinking.
Outside. Still out there.
Yeah, I thought the whole that David Grush
Still out there.
interview, his whole theory, it was just like his theory about like they may not be aliens like as far as from
Still
another
there.
planet, but they could be like extra dimensional beings that share the same space as we do, but from a different dimension. I thought that was kind of wild. I know what theories he's talking about, but like he's the only one that's proposed that before.
Right.
I think it's a lot more likely that someone somewhere has figured out how to get around or manipulate the space to travel faster than light.
Clear all around.
By bending space and not actually literally traveling faster than light.
New fastest 5-lap average 48.52.
There's gotta be, you think about how far humans have traveled in space. Farthest we've ever went is to the moon. We haven't even had humans out past the moon.
Yeah.
There has to be physics that we don't understand.
Exactly. I like listening to a guy named Eric Weinstein. He's proposed he's trying to propose alternative theories to relativity and stuff, and I think that's where I think that somebody's figured out alternative theories of how space-time works other than relativity, and they found loopholes and ways to get around relativity limitations.
Well, I don't think we. If we have figured that out.
No, I don't think we have. I'm saying I think.
Oh,
when I say some,
like an alien.
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree. 100%.
When I say someone out there, I mean like. I'm not saying a human. You know what I mean? Like if there is other beings out there, then they figured it out. I'd say that's the most likely solution, not some extra dimensional thing like that Grush guy thinks.
No, I'm 100% on board with that now. I'm a true believer that
go get him, man. Go get
we've been visited. Now, I don't know, I'm not a believer that we're aliens are on the planet all the time. I don't believe it. But I do believe that an alien life has traveled to Earth.
Clear high.
Whether it was on purpose or accidentally, I don't know. But I think we've been visited by alien explorers. Meaning, when we leave and go visit Mars, eventually we'll put it in Mars, right? I believe that there is alien life that has sent their version of an astronaut to far-off planets that are in habitable zones in other galaxies to visit. I believe we've been visited before because our planet obviously is in a habitable zone or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So yeah, and I think that we recovered their spacecraft. Whether that spacecraft was here millions of years ago, thousands of years ago, 100 years ago, I think that we discovered it like an ancient artifact. Like we would have discovered, something in the ground. I think aliens have been here long before us. I don't know how long, I think we found it. And, took that technology to Area 51 and have tried to reverse engineer it.
Still out there.
What do you think of that theory, Mike?
Maybe. I'm open to I'm open to whatever reality is, Like, I'm open to the idea maybe there is something else out there in the creation of the universe.
Still there, man, outside.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, jeez, I got destroyed.
New fastest 10 lap average 48.4.
That's alright, I got a fast repair,
but... What happened?
Nothing like getting wrecked.
Looks like you'd be lining
I had
up
nothing to do
one.
with that, and I got cleaned out by it. Happened up above me.
Modern day iRacing.
You're going to be lining up behind the 65.
Alright, buddy. I feel like, I'm open to the fact that, that there's nothing out there.
Hey, Brian, can you give me the EOL?
But I'm also open to the fact that, throughout the vast
Yes,
expanse of the universe and creation, that there could be, who knows? I mean, it is what it is, Like, I'm not a massive skeptic, and I'm also not
I don't know what happened there.
ready to jump on board.
Line up behind the 15. Come around the
part of me thinks, part of me wants it because I've always been really big into science fiction and Star Trek and stuff.
Yeah, that did look like that.
And I've always thought that would be cool,
You're going to be coming around the 08. The road is open.
Now looking at the replay right now, we never touched.
Yeah, I'm a big Star Trek fan too.
But I'm off the track. And,
as big as the universe is, and we know how big
hours, maybe.
it is, as far as we can see, and it's what we can see is more than we can fathom, right? More than we can understand. But we can see it.
Right.
There's no way even with the small part of the universe, that we can see, there's no way that we're the only thing alive in that amount of space.
Why do you say that?
Yeah. There's just no way. There's no way we're the only ones.
5 away.
Okay, so that's not a reason I would particularly use to say there has to be something out there.
Leave it on me, copy.
Well, to me, you think about the Milky Way galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about all the other galaxies that we can see.
6 minutes of optional repairs.
Yep.
Not just ours, right?
Yeah,
9 seconds required.
you might be a little slow.
I have no requirement.
There is,
We got
in
one more
my
to the tires.
opinion,
That's
a
it. Alright, we need to be
very
behind at 78.
high
Tire data
possibility
updated.
that
They could be lining up
out of all
behind
those
at
hundreds
78.
of galaxies and hundreds and thousands of millions of planets that we can
I've turned
see,
everything off so they just fix it.
there is, in my mind, there has to be another planet like Earth somewhere that has generated organic life. Whether that organic life is sustained with water and carbon and the building blocks of our life, but there may be other
It was very interesting being behind all
organisms that
Okay.
uses other building blocks of life.
All right, well that's our disconnect then.
I'll see y'all guys later.
That's why I was like, that's why I say
Yeah, see you
just
guys.
the vastness of the universe isn't an argument that would
That was
make
fun.
me
It was fun.
think that
See
there
you, Tim.
has to
Night,
be
Pete.
something or someone or some other kind of intelligence out there is because I don't think it randomly happened. Like I think that we are direct
They're ready, so
creation of,
if you want to go
of
here,
God,
Right.
and that it wasn't
Just watch
random,
your
and
inside
so
going
therefore
into
Well,
turn
it
one.
was an act that
We
was
see that
intentionally
hero-like guy dive
done.
into
So
the
therefore,
inside.
if that act wasn't
line up behind the
intentionally done
69.
anywhere else in the universe, well then the whole fact that the universe is huge doesn't sway my opinion one way or the other, right? Because I don't think
Right.
it was random to begin with. So that's
Right.
why that argument don't sway me one way or the other either way, right? Because
Right.
if you want to talk about science that eludes us, I think it's something that eludes us just as much as traveling faster than light, at least at this point and probably forever, is the concept of abiogenesis, and that's what you're talking about happening. Abiogenesis is the turning of non-living material into living material, and we have never observed that happening.
Adam,
And not only have we not observed it, we can't even intentionally
No, you're
do
not.
it ourselves.
Okay.
Like we can't do that. So
I got her
if we
forward.
can't do it, we've
So I
never
go
observed
188.
it.
That's not good.
Then how do we know that it happened? And if you talk to scientists who think that it did,
Fast as I can go, Michael.
the best answer they
I
can
don't
give
have
you
to
if you
wait.
really, really, really push them on it, because I've seen them be pushed
I'm
on
on
it
the
really
inside
hard
line,
before. And the best
trying
answer they
to
can
get
give
down.
is, well, it had to have happened because we're here. And just because we don't know how to do it yet doesn't mean it didn't happen. Well, that's about the dumbest circular argument you can ever make. It had to have happened because we're here. Like that's just as bad as saying, not bad. I think it's good to say that God did it, but I mean, in their mind, saying God did it's bad
It's running around
because
out
I'd say,
there
well, we're
just make note
here,
of
so
where the
God had to
gate
have
is
done
on the
it, right?
racetrack.
They'll say, well, that's
Gotta live.
circular argument and horrible, but they answer the exact same way. The abiogenesis had to have happened because we're here.
Let the 58 flag.
So
Green
anyway,
flag.
so all I'm trying to say is in order to use the fact that space is so huge, and so therefore somewhere life has to be out there, just because space is so big and there's so many
Oh, yeah.
opportunities
Outside.
for it to happen, you would have to believe that abiogenesis happened
Very high.
here too. Non-living material converged into living material through the act of random whatever.
Push the button. Push the button, Brian. You ain't got one.
Well, I don't think that it was random
We're like a roadblock here.
because I'm a Christian as well.
Well, okay, so then that still takes out that argument then.
Caution somewhere.
Like, hear me out. I'm just trying to put some lot. So if you think that the theory that I guess abiogenesis happened and evolution happened, and there's a guy named Jerry Lennox.
Starting a new
he's
run.
over in England. He's a professor like Oxford. He's a mathematics professor, and he is a very strong advocate for the proposed. He gives speeches about what you're talking about, about the fact that the scientific community is right about what happened, but he believes God's the cause of it, right? That God guided it.
That's my belief.
Yeah, and then what he says is that he calls them singularities, right? He says there's points, there's singularities in time where God directly intervened because he had to have. And so he'll go along with all the mathematical equations about a lot of the theories of the creation, not how the universe was created, not the cause of it, but the scientific theories of like what happened after the initial creation, the expansion of the universe, blah blah blah. And he goes along with all that. Then he says, and that, first of all, that was a singularity. That was an intervention of God, the creation of it to begin with anyway. And then he says, and then he'll say that then, like when human beings, or when the very first life was formed on our planet, he'll say that was a singularity. Like, and it's, again, his definition of singularity is something that would not have happened without God directly intervening and making it happen at that point. Here we come, fellas. And so he says, the abiogenesis, the reason we can't repeat it is because God did it. He just did it, a long time ago in the scientific explanation of our history, of the events of our planet and stuff. And then,
let me ask you this.
Then he says, like when the first humans were created, he says that was a singularity, that God intervened and created man is a singularity where he did it. So that's kind of how. But even if you believe that, then you would still say that if there's actual life created anywhere else in the universe, that
data updated.
God would have had to intervene and done it, especially intelligent life. And if they have a soul, then definitely God would have had to intervene. So again, the whole argument that still negates the whole argument that they have to be out there just because space is so big and there's so many planets and so many stars. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on a big long tangent, but I had to go there to get to where I just don't think that's not me saying I don't think they're out there, Anthony. I'm just saying that particular argument is not. I think it's flawed if you believe God intervened in any kind of a way in the formation of initial life.
Right. This is what I believe. I believe at one point in time that there was dark matter. What scientists like to call dark matter.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with dark matter.
Meaning,
the concept of it, the theory of it, yeah.
The concept of it, meaning there is nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. Nothing could, and I don't know how to explain it because I'm not God, but
right.
There was nothing, right? Just like God said.
Yeah, nothing, literally nothing. Gotcha.
And that, which is what we as humans, because we don't understand God's power, and we never will.
You're outside there.
But
78.
There was nothing, and then there was.
Yep.
So
I think that's pretty undisputable, no matter what you believe about the time frame that he did it in.
Right. This is what I believe. There was nothing, and then there was. So for there to be something, there had to be some, and with the physical evidence that we have in the universe now with planets and the way they orbit and galaxies and stuff, there had to be a substantial amount of energy, some sort of energy.
Well, literally, it had to create everything. I mean, everything was created out of nothing. Right, yeah.
Right. There had to be a substantial amount of energy and a substantial amount of matter.
The upside is I don't have to.
And that energy had to take that matter and create the universe. Right? Everything that's in it. And everything that continues to be created. Because we still see stars and planets forming. We see the light from where they were created. So
I
we
thought he
see
was
it.
ahead
We
of me
know
for
that there was a
that
lot of
video.
energy. Now, what caused that energy?
Well, I don't know that we've ever
Scientists.
seen a star form, but
was
we've
too
definitely
slow for
seen them
Mike
blow
Lee
up.
and
We've
Brian
definitely
there.
seen
Just keep going, Mike.
supernovas.
You get a flag since you
Right,
all
and
clear.
that's like the birth of a star. Right. So we've seen it. We've seen the energy.
Because we're never going to catch you.
You know, we see
up
it
there,
far
boy.
off in the universe. We see it in our own galaxy.
I'm sure
our
you
own
will.
Hey,
solar
sorry,
system.
green flag.
We see all this energy
Driving
and
with
matter
my
that was
steering wheel at
created
90
from
degrees here.
had to be nothing. So who created
green.
it, or what created it?
Last
Scientists
time I
can't
caught
tell.
that.
Delete
We
it. Did a
Christians
minutes
believe that it was
55.29.
God had to create it.
Outside.
He created it.
Divine
He
power,
created-
yeah.
Clear.
He created
Outside.
it.
Dude, but
So
it's
that's
not
what I
that.
believe. And
Still out there, man.
from aliens, here's what,
You guys clear?
just from my understanding, and maybe you can point that in a different direction. But to my understanding, there was never any mention
Oh, wait a minute.
of
Yeah, it is. It's saying that
Work at the bottom.
created, God created the heavens and the
Still there
earth
at the
and
bottom?
Sorry, I
everything.
thought it was.
From why he created heaven and earth and
Still on the
water.
inside.
That's just
When, you know, when he created the heavens and the earth.
Mhm.
Still there at your door.
And he, you know, listed all these things, like, you know, he made the day and the
Still
night,
there.
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he made everything, he made the earth and everything
You
that
gotta do
lives
it there.
on
Don't
it.
get caught in this trap.
And then
Yeah, I'm
eventually,
laughing
you
at
know,
that.
he
Good job.
made the first
It's on
two
your side.
humans.
That's 6,500 RPM.
But what
Still there on the
there's
bottom.
not a mention is anything outside of that. And what I mean by that
Still
is
inside?
anything that's in the universe.
Okay.
So when he created
Still there.
the earth and
Clear.
everything,
Inside.
what's to say that he didn't
inside.
create some other life
inside.
form or another?
Well, there's nothing that says he did or he didn't.
Go inside.
Whoa!
That's
In
what
and
I'm
out.
saying.
Still there. Still there.
Right, that's why I'm
Yeah,
saying
you're
I'm
working that
open
thing now.
to the
Don't roll
possibility. It would be really cool
Outside
as if we would meet these extraterrestrial
Attaboy, go get it out.
intelligence,
Clear.
and God had revealed Himself to them too, and they had
Clear outside.
a revelation of God where God laid out, you know, Himself to them as well. That would be cool.
Yeah. So
That's
anyway,
what's-
just think about that.
That's
What
why I
makes
say I'm open to it. It wouldn't hurt my faith one bit
Outside corner.
if there's extra. So that's why I say I'm open
Still out
to
there,
it.
man.
Yeah. And listen to this. Listen to this. When he created
Clear.
Adam and Eve, right, first two humans, when he put them there, what makes to say
Jeff, I
that
got a whole half left on you now.
he didn't just create them and poof, they
I feel
appeared?
like I'm fast.
What if he created the materials that took hundreds of thousands of years to Earth years to
I
create? What if he created the elements and minerals that creates life? What if he created that and then that formed into a human
Well,
Outside.
over time?
So where I
Outside,
usually
still
try
there.
to draw the line with what I tend to lean towards.
Clear.
Again, I'm open to say that I've interpreted things wrong, right? Like I'm not somebody who's like never so close-minded to say that there's no
Outside.
possible way that my view
Still outside.
that I currently hold couldn't be modified or
Water
could
outside.
be a bit wrong in some areas. But
Still outside.
in order to the things that I've found that I think are that basically
Still outside.
scripture would have to be wrong in order to cross certain lines.
Corner. Clear.
And the lines that would have to be crossed is how long people
Outside.
have been on this earth.
Still there outside.
There's just
Still
some time
outside.
periods that's recorded in the Bible that are
Clear high.
that would have to be wrong.
5 lap average
Like, for instance,
48.792.
Deleted. Just did a 47.
if you count back, if you simply count back generations to to when the Bible counts the flood and the Exodus from the Garden of Eden, not Exodus out of Egypt, but the Exodus from the Garden of Eden. But at first glance, in the English translations of the Bible, you'll get about 6,400 years. But then there's an extra 500 years that can be easily added in after the flood, because if you get back to the there was the original Hebrew translation of the Old Testament, but then there was the Septuagint, which was the Greek translation of the Old Testament that was circulated and heavily read and used in Jesus' time.
Still outside.
And in the original Hebrew, which it's crazy because I think the Greek I think the English translators actually use the Septuagint, the Greek version, to translate into English. But there's a mismatch for on Noah's sons about when they had their children. One says like 35 or something like that, or he gives ages. But if you really read the earliest writing or recordings of those manuscripts, it has 130 something, whatever. And so it does that for a few generations. So if the one that has 100 and some years of age when they did this or that, if that's true, not the one that has the double digit, then you gain an extra 500 years. And that really solves a lot of problems.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, just for clarity. For these people that you're talking about in the Bible right now, the ones you're talking about, were they descendants of the first humans?
Working the outside.
So you're gonna go the theory of two human races, right? That there was humans before Adam. Yeah, that's a pretty big stretch. I've heard that before, and I've read the scriptures where people get that from them. That's a pretty big stretch.
So who is the descendants of Adam and Eve?
Noah and his family, and then everybody in the earth is descended from Noah and his 3 sons. But anyway, all I was going back is, so if you add the extra 500 years right after the flood, that I think is missing in one of the Old Testament original translations, that gets you to 6,700 years, roughly 6,800 years since they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. And then I've heard places where they say, well, some of those people that were named in some of the generations way back in the very beginning of the Old Testament in Genesis, like they skipped generations. It's like they would name one, they would only name the important people in their generations they skipped. So we don't know exactly how many years each generation was or whatever after the flood for a while, or back in Genesis there. There could have been people that were skipped and missing years. And so the point I'm trying to make is, and then they say that, well, there's evidence of global flooding, and secular scientists believe that they were atheists. And then they date it back like 12,000 years ago instead of
That's your fastest lap. 10 lap average 48.94.
So then if you would say, okay, well maybe people were right about the generations of it listed may not be complete, there might be people missing in it because that was common, that ancient civilizations, they would document generations, they would only put like the most important people, and they might skip some. So where I'm trying to go with that, Anthony, though, is even if you date the flood at 12,000 years ago, and then it lists the generations prior to the flood. The point I'm trying to make is that if you forget the creation of the universe and the earth, what somebody believes about that, I don't think anybody can dispute the Bible accounts for human beings being on this earth in thousands of years, not hundreds of thousands, right? Like maybe at most you could go back maybe 12, 15,000 years possibly, maybe, since Adam was created. And that's really stretching it and taking liberties and saying there's missed generations in the account. So anything other than that would have to be extra biblical speculations, not documented. You know what I mean? Like outside of what's documented in Scripture.
Well, what about this? What about the time frame between when Earth was created and then when God created Adam and Eve?
Yeah, so I'll debate that all day long with somebody. Not take a strong position, but like I know my view. But like I would give a lot of leeway to that all day long if they think there was, and that's called the gap theory. That there's a big gap between the creation of the heavens and the earth, and then the creation of mankind. And I, I'm
still out there.
But I just think that when it comes to the creation of Adam and Eve, until today, that we're working on a time frame less than say 15,000 years.
Still there.
And I know a lot of people. I've heard the people argue that there was there was two races of humans. One of them was pre-Adam, and the other was Adam. And one of the scriptures they use to support that is where it talks about Cain building a city, and then not only about Cain building the city, but also who populated that city, right? And then it talked about God marking Cain, and he'd be like a scourge on the earth, hiding from whatever from people. Well, what people, right? Like there was only Adam and Eve, and Cain and Abel at that point. Possibly, maybe a few brothers and sisters, but not much, And so, who are all these people? Like I've heard that, and I get that does make a little bit of sense. So, but that's the main argument for. That's the main argument for saying that there's two races of human beings.
Wow. Still there. I believe we might have something for him today, boys. Still out there. Clear. Inside. Still there. Still there. Quarter. Good, man. You're doing good. Just keep it up.
Well, it's cumulative damage.
Still inside.
That is, So it's like just a little
more low. Inside. Still inside.
Oh man, I'm getting left behind. Oh, this guy's going around me.
Still there. Outside on. Still outside.
Oh man, we got 3 laps to go.
We're outside.
2.5.
Outside. Still out there. 2 to go. Still there, man, outside. You're pulling away from the car behind. We got the 3.
Whoa, I think these guys are going to wreck. Whoa, there they go.
The green, white checker.
Oh, man. It's going to be a green-white checker.
Get yourself something to drink. Get a deep breath.
I was hoping to be like the white flag lap and they'd wreck and we'd keep on racing, but we were half a lap to go before the I don't know, Anthony. It is what it is. But my point is that a lot of people think that there can't be alien intelligence because Christianity kind of rules it out, and I don't think that it does. I think that but I'm not going the whole random just life just randomly popping up everywhere.
Put that on the 8.
That's I won't go there.
10-4, Sam.
But I will say that I don't put it outside of God's purview that he revealed himself to us and created us, but it doesn't mean that he couldn't have created other beings and revealed himself to them as well, So.
Nope, not this rate.
Yep.
You can give me AOL then.
That's why, that's the only reason that I think that there's potential life outside of the Earth is because we've never been told biblically or scientifically that there's not. And if you think about the percentage of the chance, 1 to 100, I don't know what it is.
I'm a little scared.
I would assume that percentage.
Well, right now it's turned all the way to the right.
Chance that there's life outside of Earth is very high.
Yeah.
Well, but again, I don't go by the percentage. I think the creation of life is a direct act of God, so therefore percentages don't matter. He either did or he didn't, right? Like that's the only difference.
But the problem is we've never been told either way.
All right, I'm not stopping on the road, y'all.
So the percentage is, you obviously we don't know the percentage.
Well, I think we're about to find out, because I really think our government's intentionally slow walking this out gradually. I think I really think they've known for a while, and they're slow walking it. They have a few people come forward here, a few people come forward, and I think this David Grush guy was just the latest. And they said they got a whole bunch. I guess Rubio went on TV the other day and said that he's heard from many other whistleblowers. And he said some of them that have firsthand knowledge where they actually saw or touched, the non-human technology.
We'll see. Like I said, I know that this type of speculation has been going on for a really long time.
Have you heard the other theory that's out there recently in the news?
And usually when they bring this topic up, the government, and they have in the past, by the way, it's usually to hide something else that's going on in real time, in the real world.
Or distract.
It's like a distraction.
Yeah.
And me personally, I think it's World War III. And I think it's coming in the next 2 years. I think we'll be...
Yeah, no, I do think that's possible, too.
I think we'll be heavily engaged in the Pacific against China.
Yeah,
I think we'll be heavily engaged against Russia and Ukraine.
I don't know about the Russia one, but I'm with you on the China one. I think they're going to invade Taiwan.
You do realize that Russia moved nuclear weapons to Belarus, right?
Yeah.
Which is a direct line of traffic to Europe.
But they would have to. I don't know. Like the whole Russia one, they're so weak and they got so many problems. Like
if you look at the previous world wars,
but when I say
understand the history of them,
they feel like their back's against the wall. No, I'm just saying, like their only chance to win anything against any kind of major force would be nuclear. Like their conventional warfare, maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think they have the capabilities that come even close to us. But then if we were fighting a war on two fronts, that would be tough.
Let me ask you a question, Mike.
When they're pitted, it's still the
you got a country sitting right beside you, Canada.
Prepare.
Yeah. Yes.
Meatball flag.
Do you think, as good of allies as the United States and Canada is, and works hand in hand on all topics?
Yeah, I didn't have it required. I said optional.
Everything. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Canada has technology that the United States has from a military standpoint?
No.
Faster now.
But do you think that technology, maybe not widespread, but they have technology that we have.
Disqualified.
It may not be all of it, but it's there.
Disqualified because I went in there.
You look at modern warfare, and Canada sends troops and stuff all the time. They got just as good as stuff.
Oh no, I don't have enough gas to finish the race. I thought I did, but I don't. I've only got one lap left, and it's a green-white checker. Oh, jeez.
You got a pit.
I know, and hope there's a caution.
But Russia and China are in bed all the time.
Yes, you're right.
And China, technologically, is very advanced, if not more advanced than we are. And you're talking bordering countries that shake hands with each other all the time, share economies. just like us in Canada, you don't think that they share any type of military information or technology? I'm telling you what's happening in Ukraine right now. China, or excuse me, Russia, if we were going to invade Mexico, would we send our very best troops, our very best equipment to Mexico to take over Mexico? No, we would not. We would start out with the shittiest of the shittiest. We would send militia. We would, or not militia, mercenaries, kind of like the Wagner group. We would use old battle tanks that we had in surplus. We would use old guns, equipment, ammunition that we didn't have. You know what else we would possibly do? We would let convicts go fight for their freedom. Kind of like what China, what Russia did. We would use those tactics to take over Mexico. Would we use those tactics to invade China? Hell no. We'd use everything we had, right? All the technology and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that the war in Ukraine is a surplus dump. That yes, Russia wants to take over Ukraine, but they understand that they can do it without using all of their major resources. So that's how I look at it, and I think that it's starting to spill over. And I think the big goal here is a timing, and China's playing the long game with Taiwan over in the Pacific, and Japan as well. And
oh yeah, me too.
I think it's just a timing thing. I think come 2027 we'll be in a full-fledged World War III, and that's what analysts are saying as well. That China will be built up by 2027, where they'll be unstoppable. And so that's what I see. I see that this alien stuff, although I do think it is real, I also think it is a smokescreen from our own government to kind of pull our attention away from us sinking billions and billions of dollars into the Ukraine war. That ultimately all that China and Russia are doing is using that war to use up our assets and military assets before the big war.
Yeah. Well, so I've heard a similar theory to that, but slightly different.
Jason wasn't even going to race
not that it's a distraction, okay, but that the same premise though. That the world's pretty divided, and there's serious concern within the U.S. government and other Western governments that we're headed towards a third world war, like you're talking about, and that the alien, the slow walking out the truth about the aliens is not a distraction, but just the opposite. They're doing it to try to unite the world and circumvent what seems to be inevitable with what you're talking about. That if the world finds out that we're not alone and we have interactions with the extraterrestrials, that may bring us together as human beings and avert that.
I've also heard the theory that the aliens have visited us multiple times, and we do know it. But they usually only show up when nuclear weapons are coming into the picture and being used.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And that the theory that, we're kind of like
I thought I had it.
Descendants of the aliens in a way, where their ancestors, or whatever you want to call it, advanced much more quickly than ours did, and that they come and visit us just to kind of like we're their ant farm in their house. They come and visit to see, making sure they're not getting out of line, because we're kind of like the apes that learn how to use a tool kind of thing, and they're just watching us. But that's just a theory I've heard too, but it's not one that I believe. But what I do truly believe is...
Well, I think that one would contradict biblical scripture too.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. But I do believe that we will be in a war before, sooner than later. It's just, if you look at historical, the other two world wars, from a from the way things lined up in World War I, World War II, it's kind of looking like we're painting a similar picture here. Just from the events that happen. Usually starts with a smaller conflict and then escalates from Cold War to full-fledged war.
Somebody was going to try.
Yeah, and Russia's kind of in the position now that Germany was, kind of backs against the wall, struggling economically.
Turn it. You're going to leave on me.
Yeah, and the only way they're going to come out of that is, there's also a theory about a
Tire data updated.
These type of tracks are where it'd be great to have a real spotter.